Just stop making fun of me for the love of God.
You have to show them your drink.
No, we don't need to guess at what I'm drinking. Good morning, you guys. Paul, look, Paul's joining me. Paul, what is your
Paul's got
morning
the
drink of
drink.
choice?
I have coffee. I have
Gold,
coffee.
baby.
Coffee? Do you drink it black or what do you put in it?
I because I live in California, I drink oat milk in my coffee.
Oh,
I started doing it a long time ago, and I know it's like a frou-frou thing, but I can't. I like the taste now. So.
You're so hip and so cool. Oh my God, I love it. Guys, this is a special live for us, and we were literally just laughing before going live because we don't share our people. Jason and I and our agency and the work that we do, we don't normally share the people that help us make our business run because 9 times out of 10, when you share a good person, then you can no longer get that person back because they're amazing and everyone else finds out and, you know, whatever, that's how it works. But we are sharing with you something that has been a game changer. It was on my plate for all of last year. Good morning. To do something with Moss Tech, to work on a new website, to work on rebranding. We knew when we niched down to real estate investors, same here, I'm very protective. Yes, you don't want to lose a good thing. You don't need to share your people with everyone, but we're giving you Paul. We knew we needed to do a lot. A couple of years ago, we niched down to working exclusively with real estate investors, and we wanted to bring a high level of service to those clients. But we knew that our online messaging, our website, our online presence, everything with our marketing and our branding lacked the representation of who we are and what we wanted to deliver. And because of that, it also impacted us a little bit. So, I don't even know exactly how you two got connected. I know you worked together on another project before coming to Moss Tech. Paul and Jason did for a company called Stewardship Properties. Paul also knows one of our really good friends and clients, Ryan Dossie. A lot of you guys know him from either Christopher Allen Homes or CCF, Ballpoint Marketing, Call Porter, Justin Dossie as well over there. And I think that's kind of how you guys got connected and started with when it came to stewardship, right?
Right. Yeah.
So Paul took over stewardship and did a huge build out for stewardship. The national real estate investing site was absolutely phenomenal. And so when Jason and I started talking in the middle of last year and saying, okay, we need to make this happen for us, Paul was the only one that came to mind. I saw what he did. And even though I didn't personally work with Paul, I saw what they had before and what came out of it and was like, this is a no-brainer for me. Jace, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with Paul in that first go around with stewardship and what it was about that gave you so much confidence to have him partner with us for our agency work?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the stewardship site, which don't go to stewardshipproperties.com right now because the new site still isn't live, which is my fault. 100% my fault, not Paul's. The site's done. I'm dragging my feet on a few things.
It's a big site, so
it's a big site, and that's what had me nervous the most because the site has, I think over 300 pages or something.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ins and outs of it, forms and whatnot, Zapier and all the stuff's going on, right? So I was just very nervous on not only the functionality of it, how it would work, but we had already had good rankings on the site. And I was worried that it was going to tank off. And not to mention with design, I know what I want in my head, but I can never explain that to somebody, which I know a lot of people have that same, problem. Like you can see it in your head, but you don't know how to explain it. You don't know if they're going to understand you and find, a middle ground or whatever. And Paul just crushed it. Like me and Ryan Dossie barely gave him any kind of, direction on what to do. And he just nailed it. And I was like, okay, I can trust him, with our site, with Moss Tech. And then we got started on that. And I was still very nervous about the Moss Tech one, more so because it was somewhat of our baby. And we were just going for something completely brand new. And I just didn't know the direction he was going to go. And I just love it. I love everything about it. Love the new logo. Love Love the new site. It's so fast. It's so clean. Yeah, we just crushed it.
Yay.
It was really fun when we finally jumped in and got started. When we decided, okay, we know this has to be a priority. We're at this point in our business and we're hitting these roadblocks in certain areas, and it came down to something as simple as branding. We didn't have consistent, clear messaging. We didn't really have our own identity. I feel like that's something you picked up on really early on, Paul, when you were asking us questions on that first call together when we were trying to discover things. Was that we really lacked an identity and a focus and a clear vision of who we were, how we wanted to represent ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a huge part of the process, right? Is knowing who you are, knowing what your core values are, knowing, your unique position to be able to service your clients and why somebody would want to work with you. So putting all of that into something that you're able to communicate to people is honestly, it's half the battle of branding. Like design is one half. That's the other half. And actually needs to be first. But
yeah. I'm curious if you guys watching, drop a 1 in the comments if you feel like you struggle with your own branding and like visualizing who you are, what you are, and how you represent online. That could be anything from maybe your logo is not quite what you're looking for, or you don't feel like it really stands out against your competition. You don't know how to write the copy on your website. You feel like you don't have a unique voice in that. If you struggle with any part of your branding and marketing, drop a 1 in the comments. Let us know that this is something that you struggle with, because this was a big deal for us. And if I can be so honest and vulnerable and just share behind the scenes, like it honestly got to a point where it prevented me from wanting to work on the business because I didn't like sharing our old website. I didn't like sharing things that had our logo on it. I wasn't passionate about it. It didn't speak to who we were as an agency, where we were at today. It spoke to who we were 10 years ago. And that wasn't something that I was excited about. And I don't think Jason was excited about that necessarily anymore either. It just felt like that's who we've been, not where we were going. So the first call that we had with Paul, Jason, yes, this is very true. The first call that we had, we really just sat and talked about what is MOSTech? Who's MOSTech? What are we focused on? Who do we want to serve? What makes us unique? And Paul prompted us with dozens of really great thought-provoking questions to help us dig in and identify who that was. And that alone was a huge eye-opening experience. Remind me, what do you call that call specifically?
You're talking about not the fit call, which is where we see if we're a good match and stuff. It's called the brand magnifier.
The brand magnifier.
That's what I call it.
Good morning, Danny. The brand magnifier. Yes, that was so eye-opening. I cannot even tell you, like, you think we've been doing this for 10 years. You think you know your company. You think you know why you get up every morning and why you do this thing. And then suddenly someone else is asking you questions and you feel like a deer in the headlights. And you're like, I don't even know how to put that in words. So no wonder I'm struggling to represent myself online. I don't even know what I think about me. Hi, Colt. Good morning. And then from that, you took that. And I think at that point, even before that call, we knew that we wanted to partner with you in capturing the vision of where we wanted to take MOSTech. Yeah. From that, actually, originally we were just talking about a website. And then from that call, we decided, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to go all in and we're going to do it right. And that's when we decided to do the rebranding as well, because that wasn't initially part of our plan. It was through that call that we kind of discovered, and through your provoking saying, hey, you have a really great vision of where you want to go with this. I don't feel like your branding really lines up with that. It's one thing to have a new website, but with the old branding, you're still not going to speak to the people you want to or how you want to. Yeah. And that coaching for us was game changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it goes hand in hand, right? So like, I remember that when we first started talking, it was like, hey, we're looking to redo our website. We just want to refresh. And I think that was literally where it started. You're just like, we just need something different because this is outdated.
Yeah.
And I don't even think you were talking about or asking for new messaging per se. You were just like, it looks bad. We want a new one. Right. And when we first sat down, so that's the beauty of the brand magnifier. And it's not to like create more work. That's not the goal. That's not the point of it. The point of it is to actually get down to the nuts and bolts of what it is you actually need to achieve your goals, right? So like if you have big goals and this is where you want to be, this is who you want to be, this is the kind of service you want to provide, and you guys already had that picture very clear, which is great. But once all that comes to the surface, it's like, okay, in order to actually achieve this and to be successful, here's what I think that you need to do. And you guys were like, yeah. So
it
it's
just
so
made
funny
sense.
for the audience. They like, just so you guys know, like they had already like had some like logo designs done already from somebody else, and they sent them my way. And Danny was like, give us your honest opinion. I'm like, are you sure you want my honest opinion?
Yeah, I did. And boy, did he give it. And it was amazing. But here's what I loved so much about that, Paul. And this was like, if I wasn't already just completely infatuated with your work and what I've seen you deliver, you not only said that no, those logos aren't good for you guys, you said exactly why. You were very specific in this is what you're trying to achieve. This is why this isn't going to do that for you.
Yeah.
And you helped us look at this, especially as like a time investment into our brand. Like, okay, that one logo is really cute and trendy and might pop for 6 months, a year, or whatever it is, but it's not going to sustain your brand. And when you're trying to build out a brand and build out your online presence, it was really important to us to have something that was consistent and that could transcend a duration of time, right? We wanted something that became recognizable. And I don't know, your explanations just made so much sense to me that it was like, okay, I'm not even going to question this guy. So
Awesome.
you were very honest, very kind, but very, very truthful. And the explanations were amazing. So I couldn't question your logic on that.
Cool.
So from there, we did the branding. Jace, do you want to show them kind of a taste of what we got from that, the branding guide?
Yeah.
So brand standards?
This thing blew me away because it just seemed so professional and I was not expecting it either. Of just how well it's laid out. Let me pull it up here.
And just to be clear, it's not that we didn't expect great things from Paul. We've just worked with so many other creative people over the last 10 years that we've never had someone deliver something of this caliber so quick. Like turnaround time was phenomenal. So that is our, go ahead, you talk through it.
Well, I'm just going to say this is a PDF that was sent over with basically just laying out our brand guidelines and everything that we were trying to create. Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome, but you can talk about it or whatever.
Yeah. So if you want to scroll down a little bit more, and then Paul, feel free to interject and tell me like your thought process and what it was like working through us. But this was the first set of the finalized logos, the different variations. And I loved the fact that with working with you, we had so many different variations, but it's all very consistent. The repeating of the point or the arrow tip, the consistency in the font. And then that's my favorite. I just love the single M in the box. The like 7, 8, 9. I love how iconic those are. If you want to talk to those, Paul, and kind of the process and anything, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, my design process is usually to, and as you guys remember, we come up with like a couple different concepts. And I do that because, you know, I want to make sure that my clients have options. So it's not like here, this is what you have and this is what you get. There is importance for you having weigh-in and decision and buy-in in choosing your actually final product. So like, so what we ended up here with is, you know, the whole idea behind MozTech is they help you grow, right? They are an agency that helps real estate investors be able to buy more properties. And they do that by, you know, with search engine optimization services that are killer. They do that with, you know, all the other things that they provide are all intended for you to be able to grow your business. And so we came up with this little orangish, reddish arrow that sits on top of the M, and it's a subtle nod to just, hey, this is where you're going to go if you work with us. You're going to go up. This is the growth trajectory that you can expect when you work with Moss. It's very modern. But it's also a little timeless. Like, it's classic. This logo could last them for years and years and years and not feel outdated and old. So that's what we landed with. And I feel like it fits them very well. It fits Jason's personality very well. It fits Danielle's flair very well. It's a good mesh of the two, I would say. So,
yeah, I agree with that.
And then these are just some color variations, just more palettes added. Yeah. So
this next page is one of my favorite pages. And if there is something that, if someone is a very, very, very beginner in all of this, that I don't know anything about this, so I'm going to let you take what I'm about to say and run with it, Paul. But even at the very beginning stages, having some consistency with your online presence, deciding that what your brand standard colors are and using them consistently. So making sure that your social media, whether it's your Facebook, your Instagram, wherever it is you're really talking about your business, you're using the same colors, you're using a consistent font, you're able to create something that is visually representative of who you are, and people start to recognize it. We see so many times someone that has one color palette in their logo on their website, something else on their Google business profile, their Facebook page is like different than their Instagram, and there's just colors going everywhere, and it gets really sloppy and you lose that brand consistency. So even just having a consistent color palette and a consistent font selection, how much that can change your online presence.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll say something about this. Like, this looks, I don't want to say it looks easy or whatever, but don't overlook the power of this, because if you go to Fiverr or you go to Upwork or whatever and buy a logo from somebody, have someone design you something, they just send you a logo. That's it. They send you a PNG file. That's it. And then you have to use like a color picker tool and figure out which hex codes these are, because you're wanting to put the same color on your website or your Facebook or whatever. You're trying to figure all this stuff out. He just lays it out for you. It's simple, easy, but it's super powerful and makes things so much easier down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Having colors and fonts and identity pieces being consistent, like Danielle said, across all of your marketing, all of your advertising, your social media, everywhere. That's good brand play. Like that's what you should do.
Yeah.
And so it's when companies are very, very mismatched that you get the wrong impression. It's very easy to get the wrong impression about a company if they don't have that together, because I say this all the time, especially as let me just use real estate investors for an example. The generations are getting the generations and the age group of people who are buying houses, selling houses in the market of this space right now are now people who are maybe my age, you guys' age, people who were raised in the 80s, 90s, right? We were raised in a like a generation that was very that was like when brands really took off. Obviously, there's iconic brands that have been here since the 40s and 50s and 60s. I would say branding probably started as early back as like the 30s, 40s. That's when people really started to like actually brand things, like products, companies, and everything like that. But I would say in the 80s and 90s is when it really like took off, right? So like there became very, very important, like a very important mindset began to establish around the identity of your brand. So like logos, graphic designers. I don't think there was graphic designers before the 70s, or there were. It was more like an artist, right? So, but in the 80s and 90s, I think is when the industry really took off. and that was, I mean, for me, that was the, I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, right? So for anybody who's in that space or close to it, you've been raised in a culture that like has shown you like the importance of good branding and the success of it when it's done right.
Mm-hmm.
Nike, Coca-Cola, like you name it, right? You name the products that are like iconic, heavy hitters, super established, super successful because they crush their branding. And obviously that's not the only reason. Their products are amazing as well, but like,
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I think for the people who are like in the space of real estate investing, we're in a culture that like recognizes what good branding and bad branding is. And there's an association with when there is good branding, that service or product has the potential to be better than somebody who doesn't have good branding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've automatically already associated that based on the culture that we've grown up in. So I think more than ever, like if you're not paying attention to the quality of your branding and your messaging and your marketing and all of that kind of stuff, then you're leaving money on the table. That's what I say all the time. You honestly are. And I know that people, I've had many back and forth conversations with a lot of people that I really respect who have told me, that maybe you don't need to invest that much in it, right? Because as long as I have like a logo that's okay, that's really all that I need to like do what I need to do. I think that is true for a season of your business
Mm-hmm.
growth. That is true for a certain period of time as you're building your business and growing your business. I would say that's great for you if you're just starting out, because maybe you don't have the ability to be able to invest in it more than that. But from my perspective, in my opinion, that's only going to get you to a certain point. And if you want to get beyond that, then you really need to find out what's going to make the most sense for the people that you're trying to market to. And you need to speak to them in their position, in their place. And good branding is so much more, like we said earlier, it's so much more than just a design. It's so much more than a logo. It's what are you saying? What's the feeling that they're feeling when they're engaging with your brand? Is it a feeling of trust, or is it a feeling of, oh, just another real estate investor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are ways. Design is very powerful, but design and messaging together, especially when you've been very intentional with putting together what it is that people are experiencing, is when you can really see like a lot of success and a lot of trust built quickly. So yeah,
I'm so glad you brought up the trust factor and also leaving money on the table, because those two things go so hand in hand, especially for real estate investors.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate investors are spending a substantial amount of time and money on your marketing, whether you're doing direct mail or PPC or any type of advertising on television. You're spending your money that you're making to put your name out there. And if it's not memorable, guys, I guarantee you, if you're sending someone a piece of mail that you got from a list or whatever it is, the community that you find ideal, your competitor in that local market is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They're mailing the same people, they're advertising to the same people. And if your branding is forgettable, you are going to be in a pile of postcards. In fact, we were talking to, I believe it was Jason Blackburn. It was either Jeremy or Jason. And one of the clients that they got a deal from, they went and they saw that they had 60 pieces of mail from other real estate investors just sitting there. And none of it stood out. None of it was memorable. So you guys are spending money to send this mail out, and nothing is sticking in these folks' brains to remember you, to call you. The trust of having consistent branding. Imagine if you get a piece of mail and it's very personal. It has your name, but also your logo, showing that you're a very respectable, trustworthy real estate investor, not some overnight pop-up coming in and out of town, swooping up things and doing shady business. And then someone goes and looks at your Google business profile and you've got the same logo up there, you've got another great picture of you, you've got pictures of deals that you've done, and then they go to your website, and your website again has that same color palette, same font, same logo. You've created this identity, this trustworthiness, and that makes people want to do business with you because you're obviously truly invested in your own business, and that makes you trustworthy to do business with them on the biggest financial thing that they have in their life. So don't overlook the ROI that comes from positive branding or consistent branding or branding that has a clear message, because you get your dollars back from things like that. You're already doing the work, you're doing the mail, you're doing the ads. Why not dial that in a little bit more to get the most out of it that you absolutely can? Like you said, that is money just sitting right there on the table. You're already doing the work. Get it out, get everything you can out of that.
Yeah, and for real estate investors, it's in my opinion, it obviously depends on what your market is, depends on what your geo is, but in some ways it doesn't actually matter because I know so many people who are getting into real estate investing. It's crazy, right? More and more people are getting into the game because of the profitability, the money that you can make, the freedom that you can have, the wealth that you can build over time. And more people are getting into the game, which means that more and more people are going to be doing the exact same thing that you're trying to do with, marketing, direct mail, like sending, like Danny said. I'm sure that if somebody is on a list that you're sending mail to, guaranteed there's going to be at least 10, 15, 20, maybe more, like 60 other guys who are doing the same thing. And so every time I talk to a real estate investor about branding, about, this whole space, I'm like, what is it that you think that makes them would pick you over somebody, any of those other, mail that they get? For one, there needs to be some sort of spark. There needs to be something that makes you stand out slightly. And, your branding could do that, but probably more than branding, it's what you're saying in your messaging.
Yeah.
And the overall feeling that they get when they look at that card. Then there's a lot of different things that play and factor into that. But, the other thing too is that there's maybe a handful of let's just say keep using mail for the example. There's a handful of mail that they're looking at, and they're looking at, oh, maybe these 5 look like they have it together. What are they going to do next? Like Danny was saying, next is that they're going to go Google you, and they're going to go see if they can find your Google My Business. They're going to see what pops up when they Google you. They see if you have good reviews. And then more than likely, they're going to land on your website at some point. And that's like a huge verifying these guys are real, right? And if that, if that looks like everybody else's sites, then again, there's no standout. There's no differentiation for them. And there's especially, and I don't want to knock Carrot. I
was just going to go there. I was just going to say exactly what you're thinking.
I don't want
to be said.
Yeah, I don't want to knock Carrot because Carrot is a good platform and it's great for, they do a lot of things well. But one thing that they do not do well, from my perspective, is that they don't make you stand out. They don't make you feel different. They don't make you look different, because I think there's maybe 4 or 5 templates that you can choose from, right?
Yeah.
And you can't really manipulate those templates any different than what they are on your own, especially. And then
it's tough.
I'm a web designer. I've even had some of my clients have asked me to go in and modify Carrot templates and make them look very different. It's not an easy process.
No.
It's not an easy process at all.
And it's not meant to be. That is not Carrot's focus. It's not designed to be that way. It's nothing wrong with Carrot.
No.
Carrot is a website in a box to get you up and running, but that is not what we're talking about when it comes to this.
So and I'm not saying you can't have success if you're using a Carrot site. You absolutely can. I know many people who have.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about how do I make myself stand out even more? How do I become, so like maybe for the investor who's like, I just want to dominate. I want to really dramatically grow my business. I want like a high percentage of the marketing efforts that I'm doing to be able to convert, right? And actually get sales and leads from that. I think there's a huge play with real estate investors specifically in their branding to be able to incorporate messaging and voicing that is like very compassionate, very like, because let's be honest, most of the people that you're probably marketing to are a lot of those people have come across bad times. They're facing foreclosure. They have a property that they can't sell because it's in shambles. I mean, the list goes on, right? If it's a great house, if it's an awesome house and those people are financially stable and life is good, they're probably not going to need your service, right?
Right.
Nor would you want to buy their house because it's too overpriced because you're trying to get a deal. So like, so the people that you're marketing to, the people that you're advertising to, those people are people that, you can find messaging that resonates with them really, really well. And is that spark of like, hey, there's another option. Hey, there's hope. Like, you can get out of this bad situation. So that messaging is a huge part of that. And again, not to knock Carrot, but Carrot's whole thing is, hey, put in your information and it spits out a website using their pre-written copy that is optimized, sort of, right, Jason?
Right, sort of.
Sort of is optimized, sort of, and then it's a standardized like text block. It's very standardized. So again, it's like, that doesn't really make you stand out because I'm going to the next card. I'm going to the next guy. Oh, his website says the exact same thing because they're both on Carrot, right?
Yeah,
correct.
And they both look the same. The only difference is that guy's picture is different. His logo is different. So like, yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity there for somebody who really wants to amp up the game.
Yeah. And we see this all the time when we're doing audits. Like I'll do a bunch of audits in a day and, I'll go to these websites and do my thing on the website and then get off of it. And maybe that person texts back or something. And I've completely forgot already what the website was. I don't remember what it looks like, anything, because it's the same as everybody else's.
Just another. Yeah.
It hasn't been modified or, it's too hard to modify it. The logo is just something, not saying you can't get a good logo off Fiverr because I've definitely done it, but it's just, there's not a lot of purpose behind it or thought process, and it just doesn't stand out. And that's the whole thing. You have to stand out. You got to modify your website. You got to make it look good. So people remember you. That's the whole point of this.
First impressions are massive, especially, I would say, especially in this space in real estate investors, because really, honestly, you probably only get one shot unless you're doing some sort of drip, unless you're hoping that like on the fifth or sixth mailer, they're finally going to be like, okay, I'm going to call, which happens, but your first impression is absolutely massive. It's absolutely massive. And
there's so many competitors, and people are doing your Google search, Sell My House Fast St. Louis or whatever, and they're literally going to all 10 websites on the first page of Google and checking them out. And a lot of them look the same. Or they just don't stand out. Even just having an image of yourself on the homepage helps a lot. Just little things like that can, really help out and make that first impression good.
Yep. And guys, we're trying to meet everyone where they're at in their real estate investing career. So for some folks, getting a Carrot site up and getting your business started, that is exactly where you need to be. We have everything in here to support you and do that. But for those of you, like Paul said, and you described it very, very well, that are established and seasoned and are in a competitive market or dominating in that market or have big goals and are really trying to make something happen, these are the things that we're talking about. This is what it was for us. It's the differentiating factor of being great to being excellent. Like, it is next level. And I'll share this with you guys. And normally we don't talk a lot about our business outside of this. There are many stages to real estate investors, and that is a fact. Can you pop that one up? It has so many different facets to it. And I'm digressing for 1 second, but it's not just in your marketing, it's in your confidence, it's in how you're negotiating. There are so many different ways that real estate investors identify and grow throughout their career. So absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. And we want to make sure that you have those different tools. For someone who is maybe past the, I just need to get a Carrot site up, I need to be a little bit more intentional with my branding, who I am, representing myself online. Paul has a really great opportunity to talk with him and to help better identify kind of what we went through, the branding and who you are and messaging and those things. We'll share that at the end for you guys. That could meet someone where you're at right now. You just know that there's an opportunity for improvement. You started out, you did DIY. Now you're seasoned, you're doing this full time, you know what you're doing, but you're still kind of growing it. That is a game changer. Just having the confidence and loving what you're working on, loving seeing your logo out there, being proud of who you are is a game changer. So for us, for Mostech, since we launched this rebranding, I would say before we would probably get, Jace, what do you think? Maybe 3 to 4 audit requests a week on average, and probably half a dozen quotes a month that we would put out. Granted, we're going after a very specific market. We're going after real estate investors that are full-time, that have one other marketing effort that they're doing, and that have a team, which Paul helped us identify kind of through this process, the messaging for that. Since we've clarified our messaging and we are accurately representing who we are online, we are getting that in a week. We are getting the number of audit requests that we normally get in a week in a day. I'm not kidding. I'm getting 3 to 4 audit requests a day versus a week. And Jason is pumping out probably 4, 5, 6 quote requests a week. If you guys don't understand the difference that that makes in a business, imagine if you were getting an entire month's worth of leads in a week. That's 4 times the amount of leads that you're getting in a month, just from clearly stating who you are online, having consistent branding and messaging, and people having trust in you, people knowing who you are. Do not overlook the power of clearly stating who you are and how you help people. We did it for 10 years and we're realizing, crap, we probably missed a lot of opportunity over those 10 years, and we're seeing the payoff of it now, which is insane. So
yeah,
well,
I don't know.
That's what you get when you put up a website in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
like, it was shoddy. Okay, we don't need to keep throwing me under the bus for this.
I didn't throw you under the bus. It was both of us, but
it was a mess.
Yeah, there wasn't.
And Paul was very gracious
in the first one.
Yeah,
no, not at all.
No, there's absolutely, and this needs to be said, there's absolutely no shame in your starting point.
No,
like there is no shame in your starting point, because, you know, I think somebody said it just a bit ago, that right there, many stages of real estate investors' identity. Yeah, if you're just getting started in this, there's no shame in starting at ground zero and working towards something. All that I see is that I see a lot of investors who are like, they're doing this full time. They've been doing this full time for many years. They are successful, but it's like, and then I look at their branding and and all of everything, and I'm like, it honestly just sucks. I understand how you've been successful, because you're an entrepreneur and you're a go-getter and you've done this thing and you've done it very, very good. Imagine what it could be like if you have goals to grow and you have goals to like become something much bigger. That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to work on your branding, work on your website, make it something that is very standout, fine-tune your messaging, pick your target audience, and like write all of your copy with addressing their pain points and you being the solution to that pain point. Like it's actually pretty simple, but it makes a huge difference. And it's all understanding on how people process information. And I mean, and this is only going to get more and more competitive, because the more and more tools that are out there for you to market yourself and advertise yourself, and for there to be people going back and forth with, you know, you're getting hit, like people who are getting hit with, you know, Google searches, Google ads, Facebook, you know, like left and right, people are being hit from all sides, from all sorts of people on everything. It's not just right. It's not just REI. It's every space that you can possibly be in. You're getting barraged by tons of competitors. What makes one competitor stand out from the other? It's all about what you're saying. It's all about how you present yourself. And if you can make that spark with somebody, like that's honestly it. Because once then, and you've probably all experienced this yourself, if you're like scrolling on Instagram and there's an ad that pops up that really just like grabs your attention because of what it's saying or because of the problem that it's addressing in you, that you're like, oh yeah, I need that, right? Because I hate that, because I hate that problem.
Straight to you, yeah.
Right, they speak to you. That's good. That's good messaging. That's good advertising, because it's problem solution based, right?
Right.
The pain point solution based. And if you haven't put any thought into that, you should, because honestly, like for real estate investors who are trying to not convince people, but to, you know, I'm just going to use the word convince. I know it's a terrible word, but to convince people that they need to sell their house to you.
Yep.
More than likely, those people are experiencing a pain point. They're, like I said earlier, they're experiencing a pain point. If you're not speaking to that, and you're not offering your solution to them in a way that makes them trust you, know that you're going to take care of them. I mean, the list goes on and on. Then it's not just like sell your house quick for cash. Like that doesn't. Maybe that works with some people, I don't know, but like if I got that, I would probably pick something else that was like more like, hey, I just worked with an investor down in Florida who is really passionate. He's really, really passionate about helping people. Like he helped his mom. He helped his mom avoid foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And he, like back in the day, he helped his mom avoid foreclosure, and he basically had to figure it out himself because nobody was helping her, right? And he's like, this is my mom, and she was in a really bad situation, upside down. She's facing foreclosure, and I helped her get out of it, right? And so he's very, very, very passionately motivated by that feeling of like, I help people like get back on the road to like fixing their financial status.
Right.
Because it happens to people all the time who like are good people. They didn't intend for this to happen. They lost their job, whatever, you know, whatever it is. And that was huge for him to like actually put that into phrasing and words. And then I'm like, you're going to stand out because I don't know anybody else in Florida who's marketing and using that phrasing.
Right.
To potentially connect with a homeowner that is in need of a solution, but you're addressing that problem. It's really powerful. It really is. So anyway,
that's awesome.
Not to rabbit trail, but
no, that's so good. Well, we speak about it all the time that as a real estate investor, I think we should all be so proud of what we do and the people that we're able to help. And it's kind of a little humbling when you hear stories like that, because I think you forget about it. Like we're chasing the deal, we're chasing the dollars, we're chasing the margin, we're chasing all of the logistics, all the things that make the business successful.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, the person that you're dealing with is a human being that's dealing with something really, really difficult, typically, whether it's an inherited property or going through a divorce or facing foreclosure. And they are at the end of their ropes to the point that they're willing to try something that is scary and foreign, because real estate investing has been around for a while, but it's still not common practice. Common practice is list with a real estate agent, go to market, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's not super, super familiar. They're in distress, like they're emotional. They're trying to figure out what to do to save whatever they can out of these circumstances. And you guys are the solution. You guys are the option that they have. And so what an incredible message for that client in Florida to be able to clearly speak to, I can help you because I've been through it. I figured this out the hard way. It's near and dear to my heart. I helped my mom. I know what it did for my mom to save her from this. And I want to dedicate my career to helping as many people with that as I can. That is so unforgettable. It's not even funny. And there's no
Yeah.
question that you would trust that. I don't know. We say it all the time. Make yourself so clear. Talk about the things that you do. Show the ugly. Show the homes that have a hoarder situation. Show the homes. Talk about the struggles that people are facing.
Yeah.
Because the more specific you speak to someone else in that same pain point, the more likely they are to trust you and feel like you are a human being that can be there for them.
Yeah.
What's this one say? Hubs and I are a team, and we have time to go on, tweak the site, make it our own. I'm nervous talking camera, but I know videos is what makes people know you. That is really true. When people can hear your voice, your tone, your inflection, and especially when that is mirrored with the look and feel of your branding and your messaging on your website, it just adds that human layer. So many people's websites don't even have pictures of themselves, and you're missing that human element. Taking it one step further and putting your voice and your tone and inflection on there. Paul, I'm going to let you run with this one and share what you think about video on top of quality branding, what that can do.
No, yeah, video is absolutely where it's at. If you want to personalize, just like Danny was saying, you want to personalize and you want to put personality and connect that with your company. And I think everybody who owns a real estate investing company, business acquisitions, any of that, I think that anybody who owns that and is engaging with people should have a face to and associated with their brand. I'm not saying you need to brand it as your name. I'm not saying that, but as the owner, you should be present on the site. You should have something intentionally written about your experience or about your knowledge, or anything like that, because people are more trustworthy than companies. We'll just say that. So, and people can, or it's easier for people to connect with other people than it is for them to connect with a company. So,
exactly, and that's why us REIs beat out Open Door Offers and iBuy, the other iBuyers out there, because those are just companies.
Yeah,
and people want to connect with people.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a difference.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go back to video. Video really helps that. Video really can be a very personal touch that I think everybody should try to incorporate at some point in some way. There's a lot, actually, some pretty interesting psychological studies on just hearing a person's voice speaking about the information versus them just reading it. Actually solidifies the message even more than if they were just reading it. So video is definitely a good play for sure.
And Carrie, I'll say one thing about the video is there's a lot of people that are very overwhelmed with being on video. I don't necessarily love being on video.
What?
But I have a YouTube channel with a couple thousand subscribers and almost 100 videos. And that was very nerve-wracking at the very beginning. But one thing that stuck with me or made things click, I should say, is I was scared to be on video, but then I realized this isn't live. If I mess up on this video, I can just delete it or start over. So if you're wanting to make a video for your website, and throw it on YouTube or whatever, just make it. Nobody's watching you do it. Just turn it on, say your thing, and if you mess up, you just start over. Right? So you get the one you want and then you post it. So
I was commenting back to her while you were talking, and I told her we go back and we watch our first videos sometimes of first lives in our careers, first videos we've uploaded, first YouTube things. And when you look back, they're so cringy, but we all have to start somewhere in order to get better. Your first video will be your worst video, but that's because you're professional, committed to growth and improving.
Right.
That's okay. The master at anything was once a beginner. You can't become a master without trying and doing that. So we all start somewhere.
Nobody's good at it at the beginning.
Correct. And it doesn't have to be a Steven Spielberg production for it to resonate with people and help them. If you go and look at some of my videos on my YouTube channel, they're horrible. It's not high def. Some of the things you can't even see on the screen. But then you look at the comment and like people are connecting with it and they're getting their questions answered and it's making sense to them and they're just very thankful. Like it doesn't have to be pretty or sexy or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
but layering, go ahead.
I was going to say video is that thing right now, that hot ticket also, like if you're trying to grow your social media audience, like I think the thing right now is they say like on Instagram, just make reels, just post videos and do it as consistent as you can, like once a day or whatever. And I know people who have grown their audience from like, 300 people to like 3,000 people in a very short amount of time, just from posting video. That's it. And it's just talking about stuff that they would post about, or they would talk about in that as it pertains to their audience and the needs or whatever you're talking about. But yeah, right. Simple, even in 30 seconds. Doesn't have to be long. Just
answer your FAQs. What are the most common questions you get? Just ask the question, answer it. Boom, there's your video. Post it wherever. Post it on your website. Yeah, I mean, don't overthink it. Yeah,
for sure.
So circling this back to the foundation of quality branding, quality messaging, consistent messaging for people who are struggling with this, guys, take a minute and be honest with yourself today. Go look at your Google business profile, your website, your social media platforms, and say, if I was someone new who knew nothing about me, would I be able to recognize, one, that all of these are the same company? Two, does it clearly communicate how they can help me specifically? And does it build trust? And if you're not seeing those things across your different sites, your platforms, your branding, your messaging, maybe it's time to do something about it. This is a huge year. We've been talking about it since December. Every expert everywhere is saying it. This is a huge market for real estate investors this year. Things are going to change, and it is your opportunity to take up a big portion of market share. If you can stand out, if you can be memorable, if you can be the one that's trustworthy to close the deals. So don't miss out on one of the best years potentially that real estate investors will have for a while by leaving opportunity out there, by not having your branding and your messaging clear. Paul, can you tell them a little bit about different opportunities that real estate investors can work with you to true some of this up before this season gets too far in? So that way they are put in a position for success for a great year in real estate investing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been working with real estate investors for a long time. Danny mentioned it earlier in the show that I'm connected with Ryan Dossi. I think a number of you who are in the community know who Ryan Dossi has, worked with him. Maybe you've been in CCF and you might have heard my name tossed around in that community as well, because I've known Ryan for a really long time. I helped him, brand and build all of his companies. The Ballpoint Marketing, Call Porter, his personal branding. I did a lot of work for CCF itself. Oh shoot, where was I going with that? Anyway,
how they can make sure they're ready for the year.
Many of you maybe already know, a number of you maybe already know me through that world, and you kind of know what I do. So basically, what I think your opportunity is, like I said earlier, was just to really work on your messaging. And if you do need new branding, or you could sharpen that and fine tune that to pack more of a punch, then I would love to help you. So I've come up with some special pricing packages specific to this community. So I think Jason has a link. Yeah. And basically, I think I can help anybody in any stage of the game. The biggest thing that I think that's most important for anybody who's in this space is to get clarity, right? Clarity about who you are, about what your goals are, about where you want to go, and about your target audience, and all of that plays a big part into building a successful brand. And so the first point that the starting point, I think, is just to get that clarity. And so I've put together something that's very specific for you guys, for people who are real estate investors, and I'm calling it the Real Estate Investor Brand Workshop. So the REI Brand Workshop. And it's essentially what I put Jason and Danny through with the brand magnifier. It's a little bit more catered to specifically for real estate investors and their needs and what they face. And so you can look at pricing on there. It's actually, pretty low cost for what you get out of it. Because again, I think clarity is so important for you to have.
Yeah.
And then from there, there's a lot of different packages that I have 3 examples on that page. If you go to that link, there's 3 examples of some of the things that we can put together. Those are just examples. Those are not set projects because I don't really like to work that way, because based on the brand workshop, we'll actually be able to highlight what it is you actually need. Maybe your logo is okay, right? Maybe your logo is something that you can actually use, and we don't need to do that. But maybe you need to work on your messaging. Maybe you are okay and fine with staying on Carrot, and maybe that will actually work for where the stage that you're at. But you do want to work on your messaging, and I can help you with that. I can help you kind of solidify and lock in, and maybe do some website copy that you can then plug and play into a Carrot site, right? That would actually give you maybe a little bit better of a buy-in with your target audience. But then it can go all the way up to, doing a full rebrand, to full rebrand and a custom website. I mean, it really depends on what your goals are and where you're at in the game. So there's something for everyone, but the most important thing would be the brand workshop, because that brings so much clarity. And just you can read through that, but basically how I work in that 3-step process that Jason's showing you right there, where we just first want to make sure that we're a good fit to work together. You understand how I work. And then the brand workshop is always the second step. And for many people, that may be the only step that you need, is just to get clarity. And then you can run and implement and do everything that, that comes to the table, and all the suggestions. You can do it on your own, or you can hire me to do it. It's totally up to you. So.
Can I say one thing on that I think is so brilliant? Someone else just commented and said, I love hanging with people like y'all. It's important to hang out with people who are doing what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Even if you get on this call and you find out, okay, maybe this isn't the right thing for me right now, being inspired or talking to someone who can help you reflect on your business is a huge opportunity. And to have that goal to be, okay, I talked with Paul. I know these are the things that I need to get squared away in my business now to help me get to that next level. Then to be able to have the business success to come back and say, now I'm ready for a brand workshop, plan for it. Just because we're talking about it right now, maybe this is something that's a 6-month goal for you to be able to do a full branding rehash or building a new website or whatever that may be. Just get in touch, have the conversations. When you're talking with people that are like-minded, that have your success and your best interest at heart, that are really looking specifically at your business and giving you honest feedback, why would you miss an opportunity to do that ever? I'd never pass up on an opportunity to do that. You learn something from every single person you come across. Yeah. So the point is, align with those people that can help you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that, but that's a huge opportunity just to get someone else's eyes on your company. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's that. I mean, I'm done, Danny. You capped it off very well for me. Thank you.
No, you're good. I will say, like, obviously the fit call, I feel like for us when we went through it with it was almost a hybrid because I knew who you were. Yeah. But it did give us just that foundation of, okay, like, personality-wise, vision-wise, we can work really well together, because that's super important when you're doing something as personal as your branding. But when we hit that REI brand workshop, or I guess it was digital marketing for us, but when we hit that brand workshop, that's when I was like, holy, all the words.
Yeah, I was taken back by all the, like, the questions, like how they got us to I don't know, explain certain things and like how Paul understood it, and is just very in depth and very helpful.
Yeah. Oh, I popped that comment up and then it covered Paul. That's kind of funny. Sorry, Paul.
It's okay.
But it's so good. I'm definitely planning this. I'm getting ready to start my own firm because of my investing career and other realtors not understanding need rebranding soon. Just plan for it, you guys. Make a plan, set a goal that you know that this year is going to be important for you. There's a huge opportunity in the market, whatever it is. There we go. Well, hi, Jason.
Hey.
Yeah.
Just plan for it. Give that first step, schedule that fit call, and then make a plan of where you can fit this into your business and how you can make that work for you, because the opportunity is there. Like this is the year. I don't know. When Jason and I were talking about the end of last year and planning for this year and it came to real estate investing, we got so excited about the opportunity in the market that's coming ahead. And then we've had people like Paul, and we've had people like Jeremy, and we've got people like Jason Blackburn coming on. There's no excuse to not have a killer year when you have people like this available to you. It just blows my ever-loving mind. But anyway, like I said, when we got on that brand workshop and we started identifying who we are, and it's not like Paul just sat there and said, okay, tell me who you are and what's your 5-year goal. Because that would have just been like, we would have looked like idiots.
Hey, some people don't even know that.
Yeah.
It's true. And there's no shame in it. It's just, yeah.
We didn't know what we didn't know. And so Paul asked us really great open-ended questions that were thought-provoking about who we are, what we want to do, what are we actually passionate about outside of doing digital marketing? Like, what part of digital marketing is it that we're passionate about? And through that, we were able to discover, like, we're really passionate about being ethical digital marketers, being completely transparent, being very helpful. Obviously, hopefully you guys feel that from this community, that we love helping you. And Paul was able to help us put that into so much of our marketing and our verbiage on the new site. So I don't know, to me, the brand workshop was a huge game changer for our entire business, not just something that gave us a spark right now, but it's something that is pushing us to continue to push forward throughout the year. So I don't know. I can't say enough good things about that. That was a major changing experience for us.
Yay.
Jace, is there anything you want to share about that? I think you did a little bit in the beginning of just, obviously, if we can call a spade, you're a little bit of a control freak. And I think anyone in SEO and digital marketing that controls all of this stuff is. And so it was definitely hard to kind of let go and trust the process.
And I don't think it's just somebody like Jason who's an SEO guy. I think it's anybody who owns their own business, honestly. Because if we're all honest, like, our businesses are a reflection of us. It's tied, as much as we maybe like it or don't like it, it is tied to our identity. We do get identity from it. And so, like, it's a representation of who we are in many, many ways. So, like, I'm the same way. It's really hard for me to adapt and change and do things differently. But I know for a fact that every time that I have stepped out, I've gotten coaching, or I've joined a mastermind program, or anything like that, where people are able to speak into what it is that I'm doing and help me see a different way or do a different thing. My gosh, it's like every time I do it, I'm like, why didn't I do this like 6 months ago? Oh my gosh. So just throwing that out there. Like, it really, like, just having people be able to speak into what you're doing and being able to see it from a different perspective, it's massive. It really is.
Yeah. It was especially difficult for me. Not only because of what you said about just business owners in general, but I can build websites.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at it. Like, it takes me a long time. It is not my passion. It's not my strong suit. Actually building and designing a website. I'm better at just, like, kind of playing with them after they're already built. And doing design stuff. I cannot think of design stuff whatsoever. I don't know how to use Photoshop. I use Canva. Like, I can't do the things that Paul can do. Well,
it's so much bigger than that. I'm sorry not to cut you off again, but it's not only the ability to understand visually what's appealing, there's strategy behind it.
Sure,
There is
exactly.
strategy behind every single thing that Paul did on our site and that he's done on other real estate investor sites. It's crafting the message. It's the imagery that conveys that and reiterates that. It's the colors. It's the little nods. It's all of those details that someone that is good at technical SEO, like that is so not our wheelhouse at all. That's not the strength. It's the ability to do what Paul does is such a specialized skill set that it transcends every aspect of what marketing and branding is. It's the strategy, it's the clarity. I mean, anyway, I could go on. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's exactly it. Like, even if I could think of this logo, like that little red arrow above the M, you know how long it would take me to figure out how to put the red arrow above the M? Like, I'd have to go watch some YouTube tutorials and I don't know, figure that out. But like, I couldn't even come up with that stuff. So
yeah. This comment
exactly.
I love.
I'd much rather pay professionals. Exactly.
Yes. We'll wrap up with this one just to put a pretty bow on this. Again, everyone is at a different stage in their real estate investing career.
Yeah.
And so for you, you have to decide what's best for you when that time is right. But you don't know what you don't know until you ask the questions. So that's why having a fit call with Paul is such a great way to understand and just get clarity where you're at, what is right for you. He's so honest and so transparent. Like he said, like your logo may be fine for now. Your this might be fine for now. Or this one thing that maybe you didn't even know is critically holding you back from building trust. So being able to have those conversations is a big deal. Leveraging your time and your skill set for those real estate investors that are a little bit more seasoned. You only have so many hours in the day. You have leads coming in. You have houses to go see. You have a business to run. And knowing what your genius is, chances are if you're a really great real estate investor, your genius probably isn't logo creations or branding strategy or copywriting or any of those things. And even if you're good at it, it's probably not the highest and best use of your time. You're probably not going to get your greatest ROI by being the one to redo this work for yourself. You need to be out there negotiating the deals, seeing the properties, etc. So leveraging your time and resources by having a professional do it for you is a big opportunity. Absolutely. Again, guys, if you need to book a call with Paul, which you absolutely do, we have the link in the chat here for you to click. We'll drop it again in a pinned post so that way it's readily available for you guys. But take it, like I said, take a minute and look at yourself, like truly reflect today. Look at your website, look at your Google business profile, look at your social media and identify, like, is this trustworthy? Is there a clear message? And can someone recognize that these are consistently all the same company? Is there anything that you would add to that, Paul, for them self-reflecting and looking before reaching out to you and kind of self-evaluating on that?
No. I just think that I know that every time I've approached something with an open mind, I generally get more out of that time. So like if you are even thinking about it or considering, even if you have a thought like, oh, I wonder if my branding is okay, if it's not okay. If there's any sort of question there, like, let's just hop on a call. We can just chat. Like it's really no pressure. I would love to be a voice of reason and honesty for you and just see if there's potential. And I'll tell you if I do see it. So the fit call,
he's very honest. That's the truth. Yeah.
The fit call is mostly just to get a very quick pulse on where you're at and what you're processing, what you're thinking about, and if we can actually help, if I can actually help you. So the main clarity, the big clarity comes from the workshop. Just to clarify that the fit call is mostly just to see if, to get a pulse, and you can get clarity out of that too. Absolutely. Especially if you're sharing things with me and I'm like, your logo is great, or I see room for improvement, whatever it would be, but
right.
Absolutely. This has been awesome. Guys, if you are catching this on the replay, drop your questions and comments here. Paul is in the group. If there's something that we can help you with, we'll definitely help. If you need to, you can. Paul, is it okay if they like tag you in a comment and reach out and
Totally.
ask something in the group for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Cool. And then of course we've got the link for you guys. If you want to schedule a fit call, have 15 minutes with Paul, kind of see where you're at, show him what you're doing, and see if this is the right next step for you. I highly encourage that. Again, 2023 is a massive opportunity for real estate investors. Don't leave money on the table by your branding and your messaging being unclear. Grab as much of this as you can while you can, and let Paul help you through that process. I'm telling you, it's a breeze. I don't know. I can't say enough things. I think I've rambled about that for an hour now, but
I appreciate you
awesome
guys.
experience.
Thank you very much for just having me on and just chatting through. It's been great. I really appreciate it. And I'm also really proud of the work that we did together. I think we all crushed it. Yay, us.
Yay, us.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. All right,
Cool.
guys. We will see you next week. Bye.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye.